Good morning. We're moving and we're downsizing. And I have a pile for the thrift store, a pile for the dumpster, and a pile to keep. My new glasses are not in the pile to keep. Having said that, our reading this morning is found in Luke's Gospel. In this passage, Jesus uses parable to challenge yet another cultural norm. In the first century Mediterranean world, every social engagement was designed to bring honor rather than shame to those gathered. This might seem like the right thing to do, except that this system created all kinds of social, political, economic, and religious barriers. Meals were a big part of this. Meals affirmed and gave legitimacy to a person's role and status, and so most meals were attended by people of the same social rank. As this story begins, the host and guest were watching Jesus closely, which means hostile observation. They hoped to catch Jesus in a shortcoming of some sort in order to shame him publicly. Jesus responds to this by telling a parable which challenges their understanding of true honor and true humility. Now, reading Luke 14, verse 1 and 7 to 14. On one occasion when Jesus was going to the house of a leader of the Pharisees to eat a meal on the Sabbath, they were watching him closely. When Jesus noticed how the guests chose the places of honor, he told them a parable. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not sit down at the place of honor, in case someone more distinguished than you has been invited by your host, and the host who invited both of you may come and say to you, give this person your place. And then, in disgrace, you would start to take the lowest place. But when you are invited, go and sit down at the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he may say to you, friend, move up higher. Then you will be honored in the presence of all who sit at the table with you. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and all who humble themselves will be exalted. Jesus said also to the Pharisee who had invited him, when you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your rich neighbors in case they may invite you in return and you would be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. And you will be blessed because they cannot repay you, for you will be repaid with a new life. Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.
Thanks be to God.